Well, welcome everyone. I'm sure most of the people in the room have heard of your companies, you'd hope, but they might not have heard of you specifically. So why don't let's just do a round of introductions. Why don't we start with you, Brian?
Hello, everyone. Is this working?
Might have to flick them on, just.
Yeah, we're good. Hi, everyone. Brian Mistretta. I am Director of Product Marketing at NICE. Our platform is CX1 Empower. We started out, our roots are in contact center as a service, and we have been expanding significantly to cover the middle office and back office as well. So we're able to really kind of help ensure an exceptional customer experience all the way through to fulfillment, not just interactions. That's me.
Very nice. Hi, everyone. Jake Butterbaugh. I am the head of international for Five9. Actually, just recently, I've become the head of international. Prior to that, I was actually the lead of our global partner organization. So I've worked with several of you as partners. I've been at Five9 for 6 years. Prior to that, I was at a little place called Cisco for about 11 years, and the rest is history. But very happy to be here with you guys today. Very nice speech, Finbar.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm Tricia Shields. I'm with Zoom, and I'm part of our specialist team that focuses on CX. So we're like the little startup that's become very big within Zoom. So I've been in the industry 20 years, focused on selling CX solutions at a lot of the providers. I've worked at Genesys, Salesforce, Verint, most recently at Five9. So I've been around the industry. So very excited to be here today.
So I think just in keeping with the title of the panel, let's just dive straight in. So 5 years have gone by. We've had everything that's going on now. But what do you think is one concrete way that things will have changed in the next 5 years that the people in the room need to be thinking of? Should we start with you, Tricia? Yeah?
So I think we heard a lot about virtual agents today. I think they're the replacements for IVRs, right? We're not probably going to see IVRs in the next 5 years. Virtual agents will not only be completing that full self-service journey, but they're also the aspect to really get the information that was captured within the self-service piece of the interaction and pass that on to that human agent. And what we're seeing as well with when you're looking at providing so much self-service and driving your customers to it, and some customers are asking for it, on the agent side, I think there's more of a need that we're having a lot of conversations with customers about video. And what we're starting to hear about is more of immersive experiences. So as you, when you get to an agent, it's going to be a more complex interaction, and they want to have more of that look and feel of being in person.
Yeah, I'll just compliment some of that. I agree with everything Tricia said. But I think the one thing I would add is that the full expectation of the customer is it's an experience, right? They don't want to feel like it's a handoff from IVA to human agent, or from a video agent experience to, a whatever immersive experience. They just want the experience, right? So ultimately, if you think about the theme of this, what does 2030 look like? It looks like a conversation that says, I'm going to deliver superior experiences for the customers that are contacting a company, whether that's powered by AI or supported by AI. AI will be a part of it, but ultimately the overall experience is uniform.
And ultimately, I agree with what they're saying. I mean, they bring a pretty good perspective. I would say to layer on top of that, I see customer engagement becoming more the interaction beginning with not a problem but a prediction, where we actually are using AI or automation to identify opportunities to proactively engage with customers. Then that experience is highly orchestrated, and if and when a customer ever does speak with a human agent, or even a virtual agent, that agent will have full context of what is happening. They'll understand what the resolution path is, and then they'll also maybe even be able to prescribe next steps for the customer. So I see it becoming less of a kind of triage and more of a bilateral kind of communication flow.
Okay, so tying that together, if we put a really good IVA at the front of a conversation, like you said, Tricia, we add in proactivity, then we start to get this notion that by the time I'm calling a customer, they know, by the time I'm calling customer service, they know exactly what I'm thinking, what I'm saying, what I've done with that company recently. They're coming to me with solutions, and they're creating a good experience, I guess, is the question. So I guess in 5 years' time, we're looking at an experiential perspective. But dialing it back to now, lots of talk about AI today. What is actually the first thing that you think AI is going to fix in the short term? So by the end of next year, what do we think AI is going to have fixed in the industry?
I want everybody to know these are not the same questions, right? So you do a panel and you give questions. That's not one. That's a new question, isn't it? Huh?
Where will AI add the most value
it's
to CX in
deviated
the
a bit,
near
yeah.
term?
No, I lighten it up a little bit, but
No.
I mean,
Just heckle the moderator, man.
honestly, well, yeah, I mean that's fair. But honestly, I think that where is AI going to be in terms of the value add? There's kind of two categories, at least from my perspective. Back to the IVA point, right? So there's an automated workflow that happens without any agent touch, right? I mean, that's just a better experience. We all know it. There's IVAs on IVAs, as Matt talked about this morning, but it's just a uniform IVA experience that then dumps out the data well into the human experience. That's number one, right? So that's real AI table stakes. We've been doing it for years. You guys have your offer, obviously. You guys have yours, but that's number one. Number two is agent assist. So ultimately, you have all these agents, and typically they've got like 5, 6, 7 windows open, and they're supporting their customer. They're bouncing back and forth. A really strong AI use case, and what we do differentiate on, at least I feel like we can, is we are able to make an agent smarter, more powerful. We're able to consume the information, distill it down, and give them something that makes them better. So that's right there. It's today, and it will be there in the next year.
Yeah. One thing I just want to add, I think what we're seeing in the industry too, we're all out here selling AI. A lot of us have multiple platforms in there along with complementing platforms that we integrate with. And I think that's going to be the biggest step we see is picking the AI that you want to use, right? So, and how it integrates. I think that's going to be the biggest theme we see in the next year or so.
Yeah, I'd go on and say also that, I think overall, you've got generative AI, you've got agentic AI, you have many different flavors of AI, but each of those flavors brings a unique value. But I think overarching, what you're going to see in the near term, in the next year, is that AI is going to help us connect the dots. I think that at any point along the customer journey through to fulfillment, there are friction points, there are bottlenecks, and I think automation and AI are going to help us identify those and actually prescribe or suggest ways to automate and improve them. So I think near term, it's going to help with orchestrating those workflows so that they move more seamlessly.
So we talk a bit about speed, we talk about personalization, getting things ready. Are there any customer expectations or issues that you feel like the industry isn't addressing properly at the moment or isn't thinking about that are coming up that need to be tackled?
I'd say the one thing that comes to mind for me is that customers expect consistency, and we've done a lot of talking about the engagement of on interaction channels, that front office engagement. A problem occurs, a needs event occurs, and the customer engages the organization. But it's really so much more than that, right? So once you have that engagement, that will create workflows that traverse the entire organization. It's going to touch multiple applications across your application landscape. It's going to touch your ERP, it can touch your CRM. It's going to touch front office generalists, but it will also touch back office specialists or middle office specialists. Think about like an online pharmacy. You might be a generalist in the front office that is designed to kind of triage your kind of KPI'd on traditional first call resolution, average handle time, but then the back office person is actually a pharmacist. So I think that we're going to see that start to really come into play.
Yeah, that's why the CX role isn't just the contact center, and that's really what, bringing that whole back office and front office together. But I think it goes back to that, what is the brand the brand loyalty that you're trying to communicate with your customers and what they expect from you, and that's really at every touch point throughout their organization.
I mean, I don't have a whole lot more to add. I think where you were
Stole
going
your thunder.
well, a little bit, yeah. Because where you're going with the pharmacist is where I would go, right? I do feel like the table stakes have changed from being able to just migrate from a legacy prim contact center environment and migrate really, really well. Like 2 years ago, we could have been sitting here and talking about like deployment and the overall delivery excellence that's required to move to the cloud or move to CCaaS. And that was good enough. Like a lot of customers like, just get me off this old crap and I need to be on to something better. Now the next evolution is, to your point, consistency, and then to go one step further, it is to truly verticalize that and make it specific to a particular industry, right?
100%.
So from a healthcare perspective, you have to have a consistent experience. You have to have a very embedded integration with Epic or whomever else, right? From a retail perspective, you're going to want to be able to have that kind of experience, and I do think that's where we need to get to. So it is a consistent experience, so that your end customer, whether it's inbound, outbound, or just interacting with your brand, has a consistent experience however they contact it.
And I think all three of those points are really interesting because they're not actually AI related. They're AI powered, maybe, looping people together, intelligent routing, all those sorts of things. But actually what we're talking about, consistency, looping in back and front office, building in these other systems, are actually just process changes in the contact center that have been enabled by AI, but not actually being, if you focus too much on just the voice agent, just the IVA, you lose sight of what we actually need to transform internally. So I'll just dive in a bit more into each of you, just things that have been going on. But going to Jake, so I know Five9 that you've been pushing AI innovation, like many vendors as well, but you've also been talking a lot about partners recently. So I guess I'd love to ask you just how do you see your partnerships and your partnership channel shaping AI at the moment, and what's your kind of like plan for them as well?
Yeah, thank you. I would say that one of the Five9's major differentiators is the way that we embrace partnerships across all levels. For the last several years, we've just been iterating on embracing the idea that partners make us better, right? That's from a go-to-market perspective. That's having partners be a part of us identifying customers and then helping talk to the customers, define their requirements. It also goes into the delivery side of it, allowing our partners to do a full deployment of Five9. But then to kind of directly answer your question, it goes into the third aspect of it, which is to build solutions with Five9. And we built our AI platform, which we call Genius AI, on the idea that there are going to be different AI engines that power us, right? So we've got a beautiful solution with IBM Watson, right? We also historically have been very aligned with Google, and we feel very confident in our relationship that we have with Google. We're on the marketplace. A lot of our AI tools are actually the CES suite within Google, and then that gives us the ability to quickly and actually leverage their talents to make our AI solution more purpose-built. But then you go into the next part of it, which is there are all kinds of partners out there that have niche AI solutions that actually complement the workflows that we've all been talking about. And so we've created the idea of an ISV marketplace that, we do a full accreditation with these particular AI players, and we just recognize it. And, ultimately, there was a debate, and some of you guys all have been a part of this, but there was a debate at one point in time on parent versus child almost, right? So it's my IVA, it's my integration first, right? And even when we talked to ServiceNow a few years ago, we had a little bit of a bump in our relationship because ServiceNow assumed that we wanted to be the parent IVA. He said, no, I don't care. We'll be the child, right? If you want the workflow to flow through you first, then fall down into Five9 and the ultimate customer experience that we wanted to deliver, we're perfectly fine with that. So the idea, and it's a long answer, I apologize for that, but the idea is that if you try to go AI alone, you're probably going to die. I mean, like on your own without integrating with other people's AI, right? So we recognize that, and we really do believe that our total addressable market more than doubles by working well with partners.
Yeah, and I mean, I 100% agree. I mean, Cavell's research shows there's a lot of service providers who have expertise in comms. They need to go and find an IT service provider who has AI expertise, integration expertise, work closely with them, roll out a joint go-to-market, and suddenly you have a robust skills, complementary skills sort of ecosystem. Moving on to Brian then. So NICE is quite interesting. In the last year, you've kind of been talking a lot about AI and not just AI in the contact center. So analytics, workforce management, fraud prevention. I guess, how do you see those changing for NICE, and how do you see them affecting the agents that you work with?
Yeah. So, really, where we see AI being applied, look, AI is a tool. And we are applying AI across our platform in order to make our other tools more usable, more user-friendly, in order to use, regular language when you're asking your interaction analytics platform to provide a slice of data. You don't need to be an analyst, and it's something that drastically reduces the amount of time from yesteryear, when you needed an analyst to spend days or maybe a week to pull that data, whereas now you're able to use AI so that any business user is able to do that. More largely, we've spent a lot of man hours and investment in orchestrating beyond the contact center. And it goes hand in hand with what I just said, right? So we believe that true customer experience is actually carried through all the way to fulfillment. That means it's touching ERPs and CRMs, it's touching different cross-functional groups across the organization. And in order to ensure an iconic customer experience that's also uniquely human, you need to have those groups within the organization all kind of centralized as a marching in the same direction on CX. So connecting them more efficiently, using AI to empower them with tools. And then at the same time, I like what Jake said, right? I mean, yeah, there are a lot of credible players in the AI space. So being an open platform is something that that CX1 Empower has been recognized for. And it's never our intent to come in and rip and replace everything in the CX landscape. It's to work with those things, activate those things, and make those things talk to each other.
Very interesting. So moving then to Tricia then. Zoom is obviously one of the newer players in the CCaaS space. Came on stage earlier and said, made it into the Magic Quadrant in 3 years. Congratulations. I guess that role as a younger platform, do you feel like it gives you an advantage in this AI space? Do you feel like you're facing challenges to build your credibility? Tell us a bit of that story.
Yeah, and I think it gives us an advantage. And you'll find a lot of the people that I work with have been in the industry a very long time and worked at different companies and came to Zoom for that reason, because we have the unique capability that we've built our own platform from scratch, but then took advantage of all of the legacy that Zoom brings on our workplace side with the telephony architecture globally out there, all the AI capabilities. So we got to learn on the workplace side and take advantage of that, moving that to the CX side. And we've taken a federated approach to AI. So again, being able to deploy a large language model, small language model based on the use case that's there. So, and we're getting a lot of great feedback from our customers. But in the early days, it definitely was like, we had to explain where we are, but we are here now, and we are in the Gartner Magic Quadrant, but before that, we were getting a lot of accolades from our customers because of our growth that we have experienced, our rate of innovation, and to bring CX and UC together, which is unique in the industry as well. So I feel like, and that's really what Gartner had given us really the accolades and on the Gartner Magic Quadrant. But it is really demonstrating that we are signing up large customers, employing large customers in tens of thousands of seats, displacing some of those leaders within the contact center space. So it's moving very quickly, and it's Zoom became a verb during the pandemic. So we're hoping the rate of Zoom becomes a logo too. But no, that's what I think. It's been really helped our capability to move a lot more quickly, building out a platform from scratch.
Brilliant. Well, we've got about 5 or 6 minutes. Because the room is quieter in the afternoon, I wouldn't mind if there's a question or two from the audience. You can chat them in. Otherwise, I have plenty more questions for the panelists. But if there's anyone with a question, we'll take them. No, all right.
Someone's in the back raising their.
No, that's my boss, Patrick, who's baiting me. He shouldn't be baiting me when I'm on the stage, but he is. Or do you have a question, Patrick?
I do have a question. I've just come to the end, so I'd just be really interested in the panelists' perception of the competitive landscape coming up. So is it from So, for example, from a 5.9 nice perspective from a Zoom, or is it from Salesforce?
I mean, competitively, 5.9 is far better than Zoom and Nice.
I knew that answer was coming straight away. You've got to be careful, Patrick.
All right, yeah. Look, it is a competitive market, and the reason it's a competitive market is because there's a lot of demand for it. So much that my phone was just ringing. But when it comes down to it, really the market itself is growing. So one of the age-old debates is, how soon will AI take over all the contact center agents, right? Are we going to get rid of all the contact center licenses? That's the age-old debate. Yeah, sure, maybe the number of contact center agents, traditional contact center agents, are going to go down. But we just talked about a pharmacist now using contact center software. And we're talking, I just sold a big deal to a veterinary clinic where now all the front desk people are now actually helping take calls from remote areas, and now they're all of a sudden needing a 5.9 license. So what I'm highlighting here is the number of agents, whether it goes down or up or stays flat, the power of AI doubles at least the value of the overall solutions that we all provide, which means it's a competitive space. The traditional CRM players, they are wanting to be in this space, but when it comes down to it, I believe that, and a lot of you in the room have this power too, the legacy of the quality that we can deliver from a communications perspective is a foundation in which we have a head start on those other players that are competitively coming in. So yeah, we're going to duke it out.
Yeah.
We're going to be in market together duking it out. We're going to earn our stripes based on innovation and on delivery, but I do think that the overall market's getting bigger, so there's space for us.
We're all boxing back there after the after this session.
Selling tickets, $10 each.
No, I was going to say, I think Jake makes a great point. And, I think that when it comes to, for years, I feel like we've all been asked, like, well, what's the relationship between CCaaS and CRM? Or you might even have someone ask, well, when do I need both, or should I just use one? I think they both bring unique values. And I think when you look at CRMs, just like, CCaaS platforms that Jake was talking about that are rooted and have a foundation in communications, CRMs are also very good at things like ticketing. So I think you need to have a unified system where both the CCaaS platform and the CRM are working together, which is also, kind of instrumental in our strategy and not coming in to replace everything, but actually try to make our platform, CX1 Empower, communicate and work with different CRMs, whether it's Epic, whether it's Salesforce, whether it's ServiceNow.
Yeah, and that's why I think all of you are in a very unique position to be able to really talk to the customers about what are the outcomes that you want and not focus on features and functionality, because I think customers, everything's evolving so quickly right now. If you focus more on what outcomes sit with the agents, see what their experiences are, be a secret shopper, as I call it, to be able to go in and really experience that customer experience yourself and come back educated and to provide recommendations and bring together multiple solutions. Because I think that's really where we're seeing customers that are like, listen, I'm not ripping out this technology. How do you integrate to it and coming together? And I do a lot of work with sometimes they're competitors, sometimes they're partners, right? So working together to help bring our customers the solutions, and I think that's really where
I think that's a brilliant perspective, and I think it sounds so simple, but I think it's easily lost in the stream of features and messages that we get every single day about AI. So asking what your objective is, what outcome are you trying to achieve? I think that's great. I completely agree with you.
And that kind of does bring me to my last question of the panel, which is that obviously a lot of people in the room are working to sell CCaaS. They're looking at the rate of change that's happening. I've spoken to a lot of you. I know that some of you are struggling with the rate of change and keeping up with the information and stuff like that. What is like the best advice you can give to them for the next year, next 5 years, as to what they need to be thinking about strategically to keep up with you guys as you're powering through on your AI journey, right? I mean, it's phenomenal to watch, but
Yeah, I mean, what I would give advice is you have an existing customer relationship. They count on you for the quality of what you can deliver, right? And I just mentioned it. But I do believe that they want to hear from you on what experiences can you power, right? So we've built a program from a 5.9 perspective where we want to enable you to have intelligent conversations with your customer on experiences and to be able to talk to them about the outcomes, be able to like navigate into a complex environment where they need integrations. So just get yourself in a position where you can have that conversation, because that's then going to give you the ability to keep all of your legacy revenue and the traditional revenue that you've always known. So I just really want you to kind of embrace the idea that this is the next frontier, and we're already well into it.
Yeah, I love getting the calls. I don't know if you could do this, but like to start really. I mean, I think you're never going to get turned away by that, and that's really it's a partnership, and we want to enable all our partners as best as we possibly could. So that's where I think it.
Yeah, and I would say, really in order to maximize the value of AI, I think you need to be preparing your workflows and your data in order to not just be faster, but smarter. And I think that once you uncover those things, that especially, we have a lot of folks, I think, in the audience that are network services or telecommunications. I think that, I think Jake put it really well. It's the next frontier. This is, we're, only several years into kind of the acceleration of AI and machine learning. And my goodness, it's been a huge leap in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
So
I thought about that when I was writing the name of the panel. I was like, these guys are not going to have any idea what 5 years' time looks like. And they're going to be able to talk about it if they can, if they do. Because it's changed so fast in the last year. 5 years' time is through the looking glass at this point.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'd like to thank you all for your insights. I think it's been really, really interesting. We have one question. Let's take that.
You did a great job tackling all sorts of aspects. One area you haven't touched upon is the economic model. So what I mean here is, you have a number of players in the value chain. You've got the hyperscaler, they have the power to do the large language models. You have yourself creating the application, and in all three of you said, I have a channel that I gotta feed as well before you get to the business that's going to serve their customers. So have you given some thought? Is there enough economic value there in this AI journey to make it throughout this entire chain?
yeah, I think we're already seeing that, right? So for us, our platform is actually just in 2024. I think we did it was 2 billion interactions that were handled by AI. Now think about the downstream operational effects of like what that can be done, what can be achieved with that kind of automation. So when it comes to the economics or the economy of scale, I think that you actually start to see budgets get reappropriated for other things. I think you start to see human resources actually get reappropriated. And an example I've always given in some of the webinars I've done, which if you guys have heard it, I apologize, but everyone predicted in the 1970s that when the automatic teller machines came out, that would be the end of the human bank teller. That's not true. They're handling mortgage applications. They're handling credit reports. They're doing far more complex things now, and it's repurposed those humans. So I think the same thing is going to apply in any industry, right? And we've talked about pharmacies, we've talked about retail, certainly telecommunications. There's a huge application for automation and AI that's going to have enormous impact on the economics of operational cost.
Yeah, and when they see a successful project internally in one group, they want to replicate that throughout the organization. So I think that's really the growth potential. I think there's a lot to go around.
Oh, sure, 100%.
I love being at this part of my career. When I started in CX and customer service, it was a cost center.
Right.
Now it's a revenue center and the heart of the organization.
I agree. I think that's the core point. We all of us would think that there's plenty of economics there for all parties involved because we're making a bigger impact, right?
All right, well, thank you very much. I think this has been a really enlightening discussion.
Thank you
Thank you very much. Thanks to my panelists.
All right. Thank you.